Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." But what if I told you that right now your unconscious is controlling not just your choices, but your deepest desires? What if the woman you can't stop thinking about isn't really her at all, but a ghost born from your unhealed wounds? This isn't a comfortable truth, but it's the truth every man needs if he wants to stop living as a puppet and start living as a sovereign being. Because most men today aren't dating women, they're dating their projections. They think they're falling in love, but what they're really falling into is their own unclaimed soul, mirrored in a woman's eyes. And here's what Jung saw with chilling clarity. You don't see women as they are. You see them as your soul demands them to be. You think it's love, but it's often just the anima, the inner feminine you haven't integrated, seducing you through the face of another. You meet a woman who makes you feel alive, understood, wanted. She texts you back quickly. She laughs at your jokes. And within days, you're convinced she's the one. Your mind floods with fantasies of the life you'll build together. But what you don't realize is that she has become the canvas on which your unconscious paints everything you long for but haven't found in yourself. Warmth, mystery, beauty, acceptance. And because you've made her the carrier of your unlived soul, you start orbiting her like she's the sun. You silence your opinion so she doesn't leave. You hide your boundaries so you don't upset her. You become hyper-aware of every change in her tone, every delay in her replies, every sign that she might withdraw the validation you now depend on. This is what Jung called psychic possession. And once it starts, you can't see her clearly. You can't see yourself clearly, because your anima, your inner feminine, has taken the wheel. And as long as you stay unconscious of it, you'll keep mistaking this chemical cocktail of projection and hope for real love. The anima isn't evil, but she is dangerous when ignored. She holds your emotional world, your creativity, your capacity to feel. And if you haven't met her within, she will hunt you in the faces of women who can never fulfill what's missing inside you. Jung warned that when the anima is unintegrated, she becomes autonomous. She doesn't guide you, she owns you. And you become the man who can't stop chasing unavailable women. The man who trades his power for a sliver of attention. The man who calls chaos chemistry, who thinks heartbreak proves depth, who confuses pain with passion. But here's what almost no one tells you. It's not her job to heal you, and it's not her fault if she becomes the mirror of everything you're missing. It's your job to stop outsourcing your soul to the feminine and start reclaiming it for yourself. Because the more you make women the source of your worth, the less they respect you. The more you perform for their approval, the more they see through your neediness. The more you hide your truth for fear of losing them, the more you lose yourself. And once you're lost, you will accept anything. Breadcrumbs of affection, disrespect disguised as teasing, manipulation framed as love. You will keep chasing women who wound you because deep down, that pain feels familiar. It feels like home. Jung didn't say this to make men hate women. He said it so men would wake up, so they would understand that every obsession with the feminine is a clue, a map back to the parts of themselves they've neglected. Because until you face your anima, you will keep repeating the same story, meeting her, worshiping her, losing her, breaking apart, over and over, convinced that next time will be different. Do you know why you feel addicted to her mood swings? Why you replay every conversation, every text, trying to decode her feelings. It's not because she's magical. It's because your soul is starving. Because your unclaimed anima makes you hyper-vulnerable to any woman who gives you a taste of what you've denied yourself. Emotional connection, depth, mystery. But the feminine you crave doesn't live in her. It lives in you. And until you reclaim it, you'll keep mistaking projection for fate. Jung also taught that women have an inner masculine, the animus, which, when unconscious, can turn them cold, critical, domineering. A woman who hasn't made peace with her animus will reject tenderness, belittle vulnerability, and prize control above connection. And if you are a man ruled by your anima, you will feel drawn to this toxic dynamic like a moth to a flame. Why? Because it replays the unresolved stories of your childhood, the moments you felt abandoned, belittled, unseen. The parts of you that ache for a woman's approval will make you mistake her punishment for passion, her silence for mystery, her volatility for love. This is not an accident. It's a pattern. And Jung saw it a century ago. When two unconscious psyches meet, they don't create love. They create a battlefield. And this is why the modern dating world feels like an endless loop of heartbreak. You don't fall for her. You fall for what she represents, the missing piece of you. And because you don't know this, you inflate her into a goddess. You crown her your salvation. And when she disappoints you, because she's only human, you spiral into grief, rage, and self-blame. But here's the dark truth. You were never really in love with her. You were in love with the part of yourself you saw reflected in her eyes, the part you don't yet own. Integration begins when you stop chasing that reflection and turn inward. When you stop needing women to soothe your wounds and start meeting them yourself. When you develop emotional intimacy with your own soul rather than outsourcing it to whoever makes your heart race. And when you do this, something extraordinary happens. You stop mistaking intensity for love. You stop being impressed by superficial beauty or seduced by dramatic highs and lows. You start choosing women who bring peace, not chaos. Depth, not confusion. Because you're no longer projecting your soul. You're embodying it. This is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole so no external force can control you. It's not about rejecting women. It's about seeing them clearly as humans, not goddesses, as partners, not saviors. Because when you stand rooted in your own being, women can no longer hijack your worth with their silence or moods. You don't collapse when they pull away. You don't betray yourself just to keep them close. You stop living on the emotional roller coaster. And from that place, you can finally love freely, deeply, without fear of losing yourself. A man who has integrated his anima becomes unshakable, not because he's numb, not because he's cold, but because he knows his power doesn't depend on being wanted. He chooses love. He doesn't need it to survive. And women sense this instantly. To the unconscious woman, this man is terrifying because he can't be manipulated. He doesn't orbit her chaos. He doesn't beg for validation. But to the conscious woman, the one who has faced her own shadows, he is magnetic because he offers what few men can: presence, depth, stability. So if you're tired of the pain, the patterns, the endless cycles of heartbreak, stop asking how to get women to love you. Start asking what parts of you are still waiting for a woman to make you whole. Because Carl Jung's dark truth about women is that they aren't here to complete you. They're here to confront you with your own unfinished business. And only when you face it can you meet them not as a desperate seeker, but as a sovereign man who has nothing to hide, nothing to prove, and everything to give.